but I don't have to get a horse ready for a futurity to where he's got to be shown at 3 years old. Thank goodness. Because a lot of times I don't ride my horses much till they're 4 or 5. I start them as a 2-year-old, but I only ride them a week or 10 days, and I kick them out in the hills. So my horses, the type of horses that I have, they're not really grown up until they're 5 physically. So I just mess with them just enough to where they're pretty gentle. And then I start to get serious at 4 or 5 years old. So for me, a bridle horse doesn't kind of reach his peak until he's between 10 and 12. But because I go slow, I have horses that are, you know, people are still enjoying them when they're in their 20s. They're still sound, and because if I put all that time into making a good horse, hell, I don't want him crippled where I can't ride him anymore after that much of an investment of my life in the horse. I want him to be a good horse for a long time. So that's what I do, and I don't judge everybody else. That's just what I do, but I can't afford to raise a nice horse and then burn him out when he's 3 or 4 years old and have him just be there. Right, then I have to feed him till he's 30 years old and can't get anything out of him.
Like your friends in Nevada, you know, would those horses be burned out in a few years?
No, those horses live a pretty long working life there. But they're riding hard in Nevada, you know, they're long circles, but they don't ride young horses. They'll wait till they're 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, and then they can take 30, 40 miles. It's not a big deal. And because they're not training on them and mashing on them and doing all the stuff that you have to do to get run ready for a show, heck, there's horses there 20 years old still making big circles. So it's not too bad life for them, really. And then they're not being ridden. They're out in the hills eating grass like horses are supposed to be doing. So, any questions?